Okay, there we go. It's amazing. In case you're hearing the beeper, I have to time myself here, just so that I know. I got to do for the show 16-minute segments. So, so I timing myself for 16 minutes so I don't lose anything, and it'll be easier to hopefully bring things together. I want to remind everyone too that tomorrow I'm speaking at 12:45 p.m. and my topic is actually kind of what I'm talking about now. I heard it on the radio with radio crossed out and internet put in, but it's really how a lot of no matter who I talk to on the show, whether they be authors, researchers, industry experts, psychologists, even, there are some things, common themes that tend to crop up in every discussion. From uh, people issues to climate change, that kind of thing. And of course, there's all kinds of things, cybersecurity and things like that. Sometimes people talk about it, sometimes they don't. But there are a lot of common themes that crop up in different backgrounds. I mentioned cybersecurity, so I'll say that cybersecurity crops up in pharmaceutical industry, manufacturing industry, financial industries. It doesn't matter the industry, the same thing crops up all the time. So tomorrow's speech is actually about that. What are I've only got 30 to 40 minutes, so I can only pick 5 or 6, and I think I have to cut back to 5 of them, just because I talk too much, as you can tell. So I've got to cut that back and talk about 5 of them. And as I talk about them, I'm talking about the people who've been on the show, Preparing for the Unexpected, and what they said about that topic, with some of the suggestions on how to deal with it. Different people have given different suggestions, when it comes to climate change. And James Green, who was on a little while ago, he had some comments. So, and other people, the president of the International Emergency Management Society, Harold Drager, he has some comments. So tomorrow's presentation, I'm actually referring to a lot of people that have been on the show and provided their expertise and knowledge and their thoughts on some of these. And I'm not going to tell you what all they are, because, well, then you won't want to listen to tomorrow, and I want you to listen and come in and hear me talk there, and then jump out of that and jump right back into this for an hour. So let's see, what else I've got to say. Would you believe I'm still on opening comments? I talked about my co-host who's sleeping and stretching right now in his bed. I also wanted to, because DEMCON, which is running at the same time, it's full of emergency managers and a lot of people in the frontline industry, and I wanted to give a shout out to all of them and everything that they've been doing, helping. I've had some friends that have been they haven't been diagnosed with COVID, but came very close to it. And there was, wondering if they did have it or not. And the frontline workers were always there, helping them out, supporting them and making sure they got the care they needed, just, to make sure. So, a big shout out to them, and people working in grocery stores that are wearing masks and hiding behind plexiglass, they're there, for us, to still do our grocery shopping as long as we do it the right way, of course, and follow the rules, and a lot of these frontline workers, frontline isn't just the people in the healthcare, it is the people driving the trucks, it is delivering the mail, the people that still have to get out there and do what they do every day. They can't do their job sitting in their office, and writing articles or research papers or hosting live channels, on conferences. So, these frontline people, they deserve our respect and big gratitude and a huge thank you to all of them. I should have said that at the beginning, but, so that I don't forget, a big shout out to them. Now, there's something that's James mentioned too, and I've kind of touched on it a couple of times too, is during one of our talks with James and Regina Phelps and well, quite a few people actually recently, the pandemic has really increased our perception of risk. When we looked at risk, especially with supply chains and things like that, we tended to look at really what's in our sphere of control, right? If our main supplier couldn't give us tires, we would go somewhere else. With COVID, it's now, if somebody a can't get tires, then it could be somebody else. You got to find someone else who has to come in and look for things. And we were just joined by Dan Joyce, who is the head honcho here at CRT, and he's on mute. You going to join us, Dan? You're going to find someone else who has to come in and look for things. And we were just joined by Dan Joyce, who there we go. He's the head honcho here at CRT.
Hi, Dan. Are you there?
There we go.
There we go.
Feedback loop. I was hearing an echo from you from the other side. I had to shut that off. Sorry.
It's bad enough listening to me in one direction, let alone two.
Where's that other voice coming from? But it was coming through the conference site as well as here.
For anyone who doesn't know, Dan Joyce is the head honcho here. He's the main coordinator of the CRT conference. So Dan, welcome. I'm glad you popped in. And I've been trying to talk to Dan for this is the third conference now, and I finally got him, and it had to be virtual even.
Yes, well, so Alex, I'm here, so and happy to be here. Happy you're here. I've been busy with opening DemCon. We had workshops first thing this morning with CRT, and then we had to officially open DemCon, and then swing over to officially open CRT with awards ceremony. So I have missed your morning broadcast. How are things going?
Oh, good. It's amazing how much I get to talk. Giving my opinions on different things that are happening, and James Green, who's speaking later today, popped in, and we talked to him for about 20 minutes or so, and a couple of others I've noticed have popped in and then just popped out. I think it was more of just to see, what is this type thing, which is okay, because I know, there are sessions running right now, and people are, want to be in those sessions and get different points of view. And that's okay, with me. I know I expected that, but, as I hope we get some of the exhibitors coming in, because I did talk about their importance and of being a part of this, that things like this, and I'm sure you can probably speak to this more than I can, but without their participation, you can't have CRTs or DemCon.
Oh, yes. Something that delegates have to keep in mind, that without this sponsor participation, the registration fees would probably increase by at least 50% or more. The money has to come somewhere to pay for everything, and so the more sponsors we get in, the better we can manage the delegate fees to a more reasonable level. So that's why it's vital to visit the exhibits to support the sponsors. If they don't get booth traffic, they're not coming back. So
it's like I mentioned earlier. I said, a lot of these vendors, they've got gifts. They want to give away, so you got to go talk to them. And in fairness to these vendors too, they are, they're dealing with COVID as well, and they're many of them are dealing with clients who are having issues, and they not just COVID, but if they have a fire or floods, these people are getting stressed out too. Go talk to them. Go see how they're doing as well. Just because they're a vendor doesn't mean they're not experiencing some of the same things that people like myself or you aren't experiencing as well. So go say hi, and maybe and ask them how they're doing. And
yeah, and let's face it, they have products and services that help you your business continuity management, do a better job.
Yeah.
Yes, there's quite often there are peers in your industry. You can learn from them as well. They are, a lot of them are business continuity professionals or emergency managers. So they talk the talk and walk the walk. So it's they're all part of the same community.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought up the point that without the sponsors, the fees, conference fees would be higher. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Oh, yeah, without doubt.
I think people a lot of look at it as, oh, well, this is the fee, but then the vendors are separate. That's a way of the conference making money. But no, the more vendors there are, the less fee, hopefully, I have to pay. And I don't think a lot of people really know how that works.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been in this business for over 30 years. I've run trade shows without the conference component and conferences without the trade show component. And I've run massive trade shows, and it's free registration for the delegates because there's enough exhibitor support there. We don't, we open the doors to the buyers and at no fee, and it's very successful. I've run conferences with zero sponsorship, and the delegates have to pay the full part.
Mm-hmm.
So CRT and DEMCON is a blend. We call it a conference with an exhibit component, and that blend, we work on our budgets, and that's how it works. Yeah.
Well, as the main organizer for CRT, what were some of the challenges this year over last year?
Well,
Obviously,
that's a good question, Alex. And I think I'm going to start with. I'll start with McGregor Communications staff. We are in-person organizers. We're professionals at that, and I have to say, the pivot to virtual has been difficult. We have probably the best event coordinators in the industry who coordinate the food and all the schedules for security and parking and busing, transportation. It just goes on and on and on, and they're fantastic at it. Well, they had to become experts in Zoom and a virtual platform to make this work. So at this stage of their career, quite a pivot, and they've done a tremendous job. Secondly is the planning committee and our moderators. I mean, we all started this back in December, January, right after the event last year, planning an in-person conference. And I've had to lean on them a lot, and no one's quit. No one.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's a volunteer position. We've asked a lot of their time, and these are the planning committee members are peers in the business continuity community, and they've stuck with it. Could not have done it without them. And lastly, the speakers. I mean, we always lose a speaker or two in the process. That's just normal. But not one has bailed from us saying, well, I don't want to do virtual. It's been a personal issue. We lose a speaker or two. It's normal, and we find replacements. But I was afraid that we might lose some of our faculty of speakers saying, I'm just not comfortable with virtual. But not one has, they've all stuck with it. So, yep, we're on board. And here's another maybe unknown fact. We don't pay our speakers. There's no honorariums involved. So all of our speakers, both the CRT and DEMCON, they are volunteering their time and expertise. They look at giving back to the community as well.
Mm-hmm. As it should be, I think.
Yeah. So it's been, shall I say, an interesting journey.
Oh, I'm sure.
We, in fact, a lot of people may not we pivoted the onset of the pandemic in mid-March. We pivoted to in-person and virtual, what we call a hybrid. And at that time, we were quite confident we'd get in front of government to explain how we can do this safely. Because when we rent a building, we own that building, we can control the entry and exit points. we have a perfect contact tracing regimen in process, because we scan you in, we scan you out, so you know exactly who's in the building and who has not for that. Of course, with all the social distancing, masking, whatnot. But by end of June, government has not. They wouldn't even talk to us in terms of an industry.
No.
I'm not talking about McGregor Communications. So we realized we need 3 to 4 months to plan. So that's when we pivoted to virtual only, and here we are. So we sure hope to be in person next year. That's all. I think we all want that, right? So
yeah. You know, as much as I like being at home, and you know, I feel comfortable sitting here, you know, talking to myself sometimes. You know, I'm quite comfortable doing this, but nothing beats, you know, sitting beside someone and you know, or face to face, and being able to share, you know, a quick point. You know, like, oh, did you catch that? What Dan said? I thought blah blah blah. You know, that nothing beats that. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know.
We've tried this platform is developed by Unity Event Solutions, which is actually a sister company of McGregor Communications, and they are one of the, I would almost say, world leaders, certainly leading in Canada in terms of virtual event platforms. Very intuitive, user-friendly, and we've tried to replicate the in-person as much as possible. So for instance, if you go to the peer-to-peer forum area, so that's with discussion posts. Well, that's when a session is over and everybody goes into the lobby and there's that buzz where you're all talking about the session you just saw. Well, that's what that's for. So you start a post and get that conversation going.
Yeah.
As an example. So it's so far it's running well. So
Knock on wood, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How challenging is it having both conferences going at the same time? Because usually they were split, right?
Yeah, so it's the first time it's being co-located. I have done co-located events before. You just got to keep, me as an event director for both, I just keep those schedules in front of me because I'm running back and forth, and all it means is I just never get to stop to eat lunch or have a break, So, but I'll catch up to that when it's all over. It's fine.
Yeah, you'll get to take a breath, when
4 o'clock. And I have a fantastic staff behind me, doing an amazing job to make this work. When there's an issue, they're on top of it. So
I've got a great host here. Corey or Cody?
Cole.
I was wrong.
Yes, your tech mom. Yes, Cole. Yes.
I was wrong on both cases. Sorry, Cole.
That's all right. I get Paul, Cole, Christian. I'm all good.
To give you an example of all hands on deck, Cole might be our tech monitor for you, Alex. But Cole, what is your title with McGregor Communications? I'm trying to.
So my title with McGregor Communications is I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships.
Yeah. So here we have the Director of Strategic Partnerships, who's normally in Europe, negotiating strategic partnerships for our company with or other parts of the U.S., is doing our tech monitoring now. So this is what we call all hands on deck for our company. And when this conference is over, I'll be a tech monitor for Cole's event or another event. Oh yeah. So everybody here pushes a broom at some point.
Well, it's got to be interesting. It's kind of like a business continuity thing. If now Cole won't be available, you'll be able to step in on something, right? Yeah. Contingencies. That's what we got to do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so far, Cole hasn't fallen asleep listening to me talk for the last 2 hours.
Well, he's actually
very attentive.
Office. We're in the main office. I can go if you don't, I can go kick him in the shins if you want. So if he falls asleep. So
now, as long as he's still there, that's okay.
Listen, Alex. Oh, sorry. Any more questions at all? Or
go ahead.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad you stopped in. I was hoping you'd pop in finally. Third time is charm, right? Okay. It took long enough. I swear the first two conferences, you just saw me coming with my recorder and ran the other direction. Oh, no, I have an incident. Got to go. Just so that, we're running away. Now you
It
can't
won't
run.
happen again, Alex. I'm sorry.
Yeah, face to face next time. I really hope, next
Yeah.
year. Well,
Yeah.
actually, that does remind me. Will the next CRT stay in the fall timeframe, or?
Yes. We're going to stay co-located. We are locked in with the International Center the 2 days before Thanksgiving. So it'll always be this first week in October. The only thing that might shift around, we might be Tuesday, Wednesday one year, and Wednesday, Thursday the next year, but it'll be within this week. So
Because
we
used to be in what, end of May, end of April, something like that.
Yeah, the reason we moved to the International Center and to October is anybody who was at last year's 2019 CRT conference, the Sheraton Hotel, it just wasn't an ideal space. And the way it works with hotels is the bigger conferences get the better space. And continuity and resilience today, it's a smaller community, so it's a smaller conference. It's a great conference, but we're not as big as some American conferences that will flow through here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what happened was our breakout rooms were on a separate floor from the keynote rooms. This is space they shifted us around, and every hotel contract's the same way. There's no way around it. And it was horrible for the delegates. It was not one floor up, it was 2 floors away, and you had to go down, up escalators, down another hallway, and
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. And I got up on the podium there. As an event director, it was not ideal. It was actually a little bit embarrassing. And I made a promise that wouldn't happen again. So we're fulfilling that promise. We moved to the International Center. The International Center is a privately owned building. There's no government strings involved.
I thought it was actually city owned.
No.
Oh, okay.
The Metro Toronto Conference Center in downtown Toronto is owned by the province of Ontario. Exhibition Place is owned by the city of Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So the Congress Center is also privately owned. So, anyways, being privately owned, two things happen. When the light bulb burns out, it actually gets changed within about 15 minutes, not next year. And they honor space and dates with their clients. They don't say, "Oops, sorry, we have a piece of business that's bigger than you, so we're moving you over here." It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're and then the other reason we're co-locating is quite frankly, a lot of sponsors participated in both. This allows them to do one event a year and yet see both audiences at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And had we been in person, we had a schedule where the breaks were staggered. So they would see the business continuity delegates flow in for morning break, back to sessions, and then the emergency management crowd would flow in. So again, better for sponsors. They get that traffic spread out through the day and get to see both sides of both communities at the same time over the 2 days. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm looking forward to next year. Got to think of a topic and tell those the planning committee what the theme is, and maybe we can do something again next year.
Well, we asked for everybody's feedback. We asked for what topics you want next year. We pay a lot of close attention to that. Quite frankly, we do. I'm not a business continuity practitioner, but a lot of stuff comes to me and I feed it right over to the planning committee, and they make the decisions, and they pay a lot of attention to surveys and feedback from delegates of what they want. And that's why we say it's a business continuity conference planned by business continuity people for Canadian business continuity professionals.
Though we do have global people here too. We do have some people.
Absolutely.
Just so everyone is aware, that if we can get some of these on preparing for the unexpected, I want everyone to know they're welcome to join too.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry.
Actually, while you were talking, you got me thinking. Did you find that any topics changed as a result of COVID-19?
Uh, yes, in two ways. One is we always hold back on a few time slots for this very reason, because we plan a year out. So a
Mhm.
lot of topics are picked for this conference in January, February, but then we leave some time slots open because what's going to happen between April and say September? So that's where you see that, and that's where we got more COVID-19 topics in that way. But also this year, quite frankly, the first time, because it's a 100-year pandemic, it's so overwhelming, touching all our lives. I saw that our current speakers take their topic, but then start using the pandemic as their example.
Yeah.
So to wrap it around that.
Well,
So,
that's kind of what happened with mine. I had set a set presentation, and I found that with COVID, some of the comments people had were changing as well. So I had to keep updating mine so that it was more current as to what's going on now and make it more relevant and value for people. So
yeah, we ask speakers, like people, registrants, delegates have registered for the conference based on your topic, title per se, or so try not to change that too much, but then they would change the abstract a little bit, resend us, just kind of bend it that way. So that's how we got more COVID into the COVID content into the program.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with mine. Like, all the topic is the exact same, but the examples I had to go through, excuse me, because with what's going on right now, there was no point in giving an example that was, from September last year, so to speak, when, we had something happen 2 weeks ago. It makes more sense.
In the closing panel, I'm looking forward to that. That was developed late on purpose. And it's all about how it's going to change your job. You as a business continuity professional, how has COVID changed your job now and in the future? So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As soon as we finish tomorrow at 2:30, that panel is 2:35, I think. And as soon as I finish here, I want to log in and listen to that one as well.
It should be very interesting. I'm looking forward to that too. Even though I'm not. I like to say I scrape below the surface of business continuity just enough to be dangerous. Like, I understand, I know the acronyms, but sometimes I don't know exactly what it means. But so, but I enjoy learning what everybody. And here's another thing. I got to say, emergencies and managers and business continuity people in this pandemic, you guys are, ladies and gentlemen, you're heroes. I mean, you guys are keeping things going in the face of this, pandemic, keeping communities going and keeping businesses going. I know it's been a long haul and still going. So, but congratulations.
On behalf of everybody, thank you. I second that too. To everybody that's out there. That's it's not easy for anybody right now, no matter really who they are and what they do. It's a tough time, but we will get through it. We will persevere. We will become, it's the nature of our species to become resilient. So we will get through it.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
And we're herd animals. I can't wait to hug everybody.
You know what? I wouldn't doubt that. The first day people go back to the office, even people you may not have liked before, still so happy to see you.
Exactly. Anyways, Alex, I do have to run.
Yep.
I'll come back.
I'm gonna take about a 10-minute break because my co-host with 4 legs down here is dying to go outside. So I'm gonna take so Cole, we're gonna take a little break. Dan, thanks for coming in and chatting finally. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep. Take care. Thank you.
Take care. So Cole.
Yep. All right, everyone. I'll be throwing up some holding slides at the moment.
If you like that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. but leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.